All right, all right. Microphone good? Yep. All right, microphone is good, and we are live coming at you. It is Thursday night, 11 p.m. here in California, and we are going to go over the day in Bitcoin. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to kind of give you a sneak peek behind what it's like to be in the chart champions at the championship level. Last night, I put out a video, and so the purpose of these videos is really I'm transitioning to a swing trader, and I'm basically just kind of stealing off of Daniel's method. I found that it's super effective. I like it. It goes in a certain flow. I can add my own stuff to it. I can take my own stuff to it. I highly suggest that every trader figure out your own style, your own way that is based on just a process that you can just quickly go through. A lot of people hit me up, and a lot of the stuff from Chart Champs or a lot of stuff is beyond them, so they just kind of quit on it. Don't do that. One thing I will say is I had these two levels here, like this 96,000. This is the reason why I have this 96,000 is basically because if I bring up here just a just a fixed range pool that I have here on my local range. I got the point of control right there. Point of control, anchored VWAP, not the all-time high anchored VWAP, but still this VWAP has been traded through a couple times. And so it is a little bit weak, but we are coming up on a massive zone of resistance. I'm going to come here and I'm going to look at where are my naked dailies? Okay, yeah. So here's my naked points of control. And I also have a naked weekly point of control. And in my experience, weekly naked point of controls are super, super respected levels. But when you're trading them on the low time frame, they take time to develop. It's almost like when you're trading a daily naked point of control, you can get a quick reaction. But when you're trading a weekly naked point of control, sometimes price can just kind of hang out there. It's not just going to immediately be rejected or, anything is possible. But what I found is probable is that weekly naked point of controls typically tend to need a little bit of time for price to develop. Price might hang out around there and make a decision. So big, big, big resistance level. One of the funny things was, so I do these videos and then I watch Daniel's daily videos from the chart champions. And I like to see, am I seeing what the coaches are seeing in advance? And one of the funny things that I'll just note here, and I'm going to kind of give you behind the scenes, was that there was a very reactive level that he called in advance. It was basically a sweep of the lows, anchor VWAP, daily level, and wouldn't you know it, but that was one. I'm going to go here to a lower time frame. That was one of the biggest moves on the day. There's that anchored VWAP. There's that naked daily. Bam. I mean, move to the upside. And he called it, man. I mean, that is a yeah, that's a 4% move, or that's a 4% move. A 4% move on Bitcoin in a day is huge. Huge. 2x leverage, I'm trading 10x leverage. That can be a monstrous day. That can really tip the scales. So if any guys are on the fence about joining up, I know it can get expensive. It's going to be a long journey. If you do join, it's probably going to take you about 6 months to a year, depending on how much time you have to get through the modules and stuff. But I'll tell you, there's nothing like it. I don't want to show too much here about the Discord, other people's names and stuff. And so we're just going to kind of review the context, right? So what happened? I'm going to go here to the hourly, and let's kind of just review the last 24 hours. I'm going to get rid of some of these levels here, right? I'm going to get rid of these swing trades. And so here's my big reactionary levels, right? Price, always want to look at how's it going, right? Low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And now price is starting to slow down. Now, price will start to slow down next to big resistance. If we're in an uptrend and you're coming up on big resistance and price starts to slow down, it starts to weaken, that can be a sign, anything can happen, right? Always remember that. It doesn't mean we can't just blast right through. But, if we come up here and start to consolidate here and we get a nice wick through that level and close below, immediate stop loss entry with a target of the lows, right? big resistance. Here's our invalidation at the low, right? Target. If we get rejected off of that target, we're coming right back. Well, I would aim to come right back down there, because really at the end of the day, we're forming a little bit of an arch. And then if we break that trend, boom, we'd expect that to come back down to the lows, possibly even further. But the safest bet, if you're looking to take a trade, is to kind of just box in that range. So yeah, so basically that's how it's going. We're going to go here and we're going to do some high time frame levels. Actually, first I'm going to do a little cleaning up here, right? I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. I'm going to bring this down here, and I'm going to get rid of these MPOCs, and we come up always at the high time frame levels. So I'm not going to go to the weekly, because I already did the weekly at the beginning of the week. So I'm going to bring in here my high time frame levels and see if we have any new dailies. We did tap that daily resistance there. Nice. I mean, look at this. Here's the beauty of it, right? Daily to daily. Look at that. Just doesn't get any better than that. We front ran that daily a little bit, but this daily is gone. So we do now have a daily open right here. Actually, we're going to start trading above that daily open, so I am not going to mark out that level. There's my high time frames, right? I've got daily resistance above me at 101,237. I've got daily support below me at 89,206. Those are my nearest levels right there. I'm going to pull up ATAS here, and we're going to, actually, I need to set up ATAS. So while this is kind of juicing up, we are going to work something else. All right. That ATAS is working its way up. All right, we're going to adjust some ranges. Just going to adjust some values here. We'll go on out to the weekly. And going to introduce this local range. Bam. So this is just to give me an idea of where I am at in the auction process, right? This is just a big range. I want to see if these values shifted at all. So the value area low did come down a little bit. But for the most part, the point of control stayed exactly the same, which is good. I'm going to introduce a bigger range here, my global range. And I kind of want to see where I'm at in that process, right? So I've got a value area high here, and I am really starting to battle getting out of that. So this is pulled from FTX bottom to current price action, this whole uptrend. And one of the reasons why I did pull this whole uptrend is because I'm learning about Elliott waves from Daniel. And one of the biggest things here was this 2-4 wave, right? So just a quick lesson in Elliott waves, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. And then now we have a big complex correction. But this 2-4 trend line is one of the most important trend lines. So when you break that trend line, you are correcting the entire move. So in my eyes, if I'm going to correct the entire move, then I want to get an idea of the volume analysis for the entire move. And as you can see here, we dipped down into this value area, but we quickly got back out, right? With a reclaim right there. And right now we're making our way up, and we are fighting the value area high. We can go in here and look at that on a smaller time frame perspective so we can really see where we're at. So as you can see, right, just every time we peekaboo up into this, I mean, look at this failed auction of this value area high. There were some other levels that we did. And it's funny because different people can look at different stuff and arrive at the same trade. But I like to really use that fixed range volume analysis to give me an idea of where I'm at in the auction process. And as you can see, this value area high has been respected, and it's been well tested. 1, 2, 3, coming up for a fourth here, which looks like is imminent, right? Higher, and yeah. So actually even starting to form a little bit of a triangle here. Whether it's bullish or bearish, we will find out. Whether it is a breakout of the candle up to 96 and then come on down, we're going to see. That's why we're going to do some analysis. So bringing in Atas here, and we're going to look at some values. We're going to go through the process here. I love this template. Thank you so much for giving me this template. Okay, so yesterday, we're going to have a naked point of control at 90,200. That is a daily naked point of control. And today I'll note that we are building value outside of previous day value. Other than that, we still got that 87,300. Yeah, 87,300. And then that 85,775. Now we're going to come here and take a look at the weekly perspective. I don't think we touched any weekly values. Nope. We still got that 87.3, which is a massive level, 87,300. No need to look at the monthly. Already know that no monthly naked levels have been touched. Now, we're here on the 30-minute order flow, right? And what is important here? What's important here is the highs and the lows. Who's in the game at the highs and the lows, right? So first off, we can see here that CVD is going low, lower, lower, lower. And we can see price is going higher, higher, higher. So we do have bullish CVD divergence. Now we're going to check out the open interest and get the strength of that. So you can see here, open interest, negative delta. Bullish CVD, negative delta. Something is absorbing the price, right? Already, I'm building a little bit of a bias to the upside. Open interest up, 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 up. Delta, down, down, down. I mean, bullish divergences, strong bullish divergences all around, right? We've got a nice little wick right here with a big liquidity drop. So we took that high on a drop of open interest. So we took that high with weakness. No big surprise that we lost it. We took this high on an increase of open interest, and that was trapped longs. As you can see here, you got that open interest increase with the positive delta. So everybody was longing at the top. They longed at the top, brought them down, retest, fake out, squeezed them out, and now everybody's selling off because they got freaked out over here, and something is just absorbing the price. So plain and simple, bullish CVD divergences on the local time frame. Going to look a little bit here on our TPO profile. And I love the TPO profile. Igor has a great new video on just reading the shapes of the TPO profile and what each one represents. Like here, you see your P's and your B's and your uppercase B's, right? So here, you can see here, price moved to the downside and ended up trailing down sideways and making like a nice bubble at the bottom. Here, we're starting a P profile. So I'll show you how to read this. As you can see here, right here, we've got our daily open. Let me move this a little bit over here so I can see myself. We've got our daily open right here. Current price action is back at the open. The A session traded up here. The B session came down. So that tells me that since the daily open, we had a sharp move to the downside. As we had a sharp move to the downside, we spent a little first half hour and then the second hour. Since then, price shot back up and it's been just trailing sideways here. This isn't really what I would classify as finished business, but this is almost a retest of value. So price could come and clean up these lows, right? Because you really don't have any nice big wicks down here. But you do also have unfinished business at the highs. So when you're looking at this, really you just want to say to yourself, where's finished business, right? Where's price likely to go based on the profile, right? Because each day is either leaving unfinished business or really just taking out liquidity of the previous day or previous days so it can set itself up to go somewhere else. Like this, for example, had a nice big wick to the low side, flat bottom. And then what do? We came over here and we dipped a little bit lower. We took that liquidity, right? Because you can see here, point of control, nice boxy bottom. little bit of a wick here, and then this day just reach down, clean up those lows. And what I mean by clean up those lows was it reached a little bit lower over here. So it can get complicated, I know, but the best thing to do is just keep it simple. This is what finished business looks like. This is what finished business looks like. This is what unfinished business looks like. Just want to get a look at it and say, where's the unfinished business? Where's the single prints? Do we have any single prints? So we do not have any single prints, and we are beginning the day of a P profile. All right, so let's go back here and let's do some work on Trading View and get an idea of the day ahead. 85,550 naked daily. I don't remember that number. 85,775, 87,300, 90,200, 83,700. Yeah, that 85,550 can go away. 85,550, that's strange. We're going to make that 85,775. Okay. And then this 9302, we tap that. So this can go to something else. We're going to make this that 90,200. All right. And 85, 87,300, 87. Okay, yeah, there we go. We're going to get out of this here. We're going to bring in our... So we do have that. So, right, so let's bring it all together, right? We're going to do this on the 30-minute. So firstly, we're headed up to this naked weekly point of control. Big resistance, and we also know that we have our point of control there. That is, excuse me, that is a level, right? Downtrend anchor VWAP, naked weekly point of control, range POC, maybe even some kind of fib level from a significant pivot. Let's see, right? We get this pivot right here, and we'll bring it on down to this low. Boom. Boom. We've got our golden pocket CC channel right there. Yeah, kind of in the neighborhood, right? So we could come up here and see a nice little wick come up a little bit higher, wick up, come back in. That would be an immediate short entry for me. I do still like the long down here. I like the long. Let me adjust this value right here. So I do have a couple of areas here. And so this is really, let's keep it real simple. These are the areas that I'm going to be looking for a reaction to trade. Right here, I'll be looking for a reversal pattern. Right. I'm not in love with this level, this naked daily, but I am really liking this value area low. And naked daily point of control right down here, because, right, this sweeps these lows. And you've got this value area low and this naked level right below those lows. So, you know, whether this could pan out a number of different ways, right? My bias is up. I'm still seeing some bullish divergences. So I would say we open, we come on up. If we crack a high, who knows? Maybe we come on down here and tap that before we come up for the bigger one and then make a decision here, which is fitting for our parallel channel, right? That's another low on our parallel channel. We could, you know, spend a little time. One thing that I do want to look at real quick is I want to look at Fibonacci time. This is a tool that I love, but just it's difficult to use, right? You want to use it at the right pivots, right? So if we could say here, in the time that it takes to, right, we would call this A, B, C, right? Arguably D, but we don't need a D. So if we have a B, and a C, we would come here and we would go here. The time that it took to make that low to this high to this low. And then we've got a 618 that would put us like at the top on Saturday or at the bottom on Saturday. Arguably, if I'm using the tool right, not really much of a big help because it didn't really mark out this high. Let's do something a little bit different here. Let's bring this to, no, we can't do that. Yeah, that's our 3 pivots. So with our 3 pivots, we can kind of get an idea of what is going to transpire, or actually not what's going to transpire, but when it's going to transpire. So, I mean, that's it. That's basically in a nutshell. These are the levels I'm looking for. I'm looking for coming on down here to the channel, which would be a sweep of the lows, which is also a naked daily point of control. And then I like also this resistance level up here, which is my local range, anchored VWAP, big resistance here. So if you're a working person, right, you're somebody and you just want to trade, but you got to go to work, I would set a level around 96,000 or 96,273. And when that alert goes off, just log on in and see if you see a reversal pattern, right? Maybe you come here and you see we traded through that level and there's a nice big 5-minute wick. You're not going to be able to see if there's trapped traders if you're just looking at TradingView on your phone, for example. But if you see a nice big wick and then we close below and then maybe a 1-minute market structure change that puts you back under the reference level, which is going to be, really arguably 96.2, then you have everything you need for a trade. You've got an invalidation. You've got a reason because you got a nice big wick. And then you got a target, which would be down here. Or you could just reverse that, right? You could say to yourself, all right, so down here, I've got this value area low. I've got this channel trend line. I've got this naked weekly point of control. And I would look for the same thing. When you're taking these lows, typically you're looking for a liquidity grab, right? This is not the area. You could come down here, trade for a little while, and then come on up, the failed auction. I would say that, you're probably not going to spend much time underneath this channel, right? Once you get rejected from the channel, you'd look for the back test and then you're trading to the downside. But I would say that the entry trigger for this trade would absolutely be a sweep of these lows and price getting back up there very quickly. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. 87,300. Put that alert right there. If you see a nice big wick with a low time frame market structure change, you got it. Take your invalidation, stop loss, write it to the top. If you see the same thing at the top, nice big wick, low time frame market structure change, got an invalidation, take the short and write it down to the bottom of the channel. You're going to have time. That's the beautiful thing about this, is you're probably going to have some time. And if you miss the trade, don't stress. Do not stress. There's nothing to worry about. You've made it this long. Crypto has kicked your ass left and right all over the place. And you're in a rush now. Your alt bags are down like 90%. There's no reason to be in a rush right now. Now is the time to learn. Now is the time to invest in yourself through, and if you're not too confident, don't trade big money. Just trade small money. But this is the way. Find the zone you want to trade. Wait for price to arrive at that zone. When price arrives at that zone, look for the reaction that you need. If you take this with strength, let's say you come on up here, you pop it, you trade above, and then you do a little low time frame market structure of the price just continuing to grow, then just sit it out, right? That was a flip. If we flip that, don't long it. Don't long it. The longs were down here, right? Now you're looking for shorts. If you want a long, wait for price to drop. If you want a short, wait for price to rise. It's just that simple. And wait for the right reaction. What are the 3 things you need to take a trade? You need a reason, you need invalidation, and you need a target. If you do not have these things, you shouldn't be trading. Stop getting into this gambling mentality, right? Everybody just wants to trade so much. They just say, I want to be a trader. I want to get out of the rat race. I want to do this. I want to do that. This is Nah, you got to have some patience. And I'm right there with you. I'm going to fight this patience with you. So that's all I got. Those are the levels. Set those alerts. If you didn't get those numbers, watch this video again, hit like and subscribe. And I am doing this every single night for, you know, for me. These are for selfish reasons. Hey, man, what can I say? Uh, I'm getting regular in my process. I'm getting practice, but I am killing it lately. And I hope this helps you out a lot. I'll see you next time. I'm out of here. Peace.